Welcome to Widow Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader-Ebersole. I am so excited about today's episode. So, as you guys probably know, we just did a retreat a few weeks ago, and my daughter Hayley spoke and shared her story. So today's episode is going to be the recording. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, you can watch it. Otherwise, you can listen to it, of her sharing her story and the launch of her brand new ministry for kids called Parent Lost Goals. And so it's going to be a place where kids, teens, and young adults can connect with her, and she's going to be sharing content about what's helped her through. And that's going to be found on Instagram and Facebook if you just look up at Parent Lost Goals, like widow goals. I'll also have links in the show notes to that. If you want to hear her full long story, you can go back to episode 122, which is what it's like to lose a parent from a child's perspective. And that's going to be Hayley sharing her story. Maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago, I interviewed her. This is going to be a shorter one. And if you hear people talking, it's because we were at the retreat. We were encouraging her when she's crying. If you're watching it, you can see the beautiful video she plays, and it's about 20 minutes long. And so I just wanted to get a chance to share that to you guys. If you have young adults, teenagers, I highly recommend letting them watch this and or letting them watch episode 122, and then definitely connecting. You know, Hayley was like, I don't actually have any friends who have lost a parent. And so she's excited about the people she's been connecting with so she can make friends too. I can't imagine not having any friends who lost a spouse. I mean, that my life is full of widows, but yet it's so much harder for the kids to connect. And so I'm super, super excited for her to bring those people together. I mean, we have dreams of maybe even someday doing a Parent Lost Goals retreat. After we get our widow goals down, we will be doing that. And also, I'm excited to announce that October 5th through 8th, we are doing our next widow goals retreat. We'll be looking soon. Registration is not out yet, but it will fill up. We are aiming for 100 widows this time, and we won't be having a storm in October. So it'll be awesome. So just know to be looking for that. If you're like, where do I look for it? Please make sure you are part of the Widow Too Soon Facebook page, not the page, I'm sorry, the group, Widow Too Soon Community. And that is a group on Facebook where I post things, or you could just follow me on Facebook, Michelle Bader-Ebersole, and I'll be posting it there. So without further ado, I am going to introduce to you my wonderful daughter, Hayley Bader, who is age 19 and is doing such a good job and doing so many things. So I will let her take it away. Thank you so much.
Talking about grief, faith, and community, and what it's like to experience loss from a child's perspective. And I know you've heard many beautiful speeches from so many widows this weekend, but that's why I hope to share my perspective as a child going through loss. So let's take this back a few years and start at the beginning. Okay, well, that's pretty far back. We don't need to go that far back. But I just thought I looked cute in this picture, so you get to see it. So let's move forward a few years. That's a better age to start the story. So when I was 4 years old, I asked Jesus into my heart. I grew up in a Christian home, and I was surrounded by love and just an amazing community of Christians, and I knew what it was like to walk in my faith because I had great examples from my mom and my dad. And even though we weren't rich, I had an amazing childhood, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I loved my childhood growing up. Even though my dad would get sick often, but to me that was normal because I didn't think much of it. He would get sick, go to the hospital, come back. So my dad, this is a funny story. My dad one time even had to go to the hospital, and it was during my 9th birthday party sleepover. So I had a friend over at my house, and he had to go to the hospital. The ambulance came and everything. And instead of worrying about him, the only thing I was worried about was, I hope I still get to go to the American Girl store tomorrow, because that was my main thing, was I wanted to go and have fun. And so instead of worrying about him, that's what I was worrying about, because again, like I said, my dad got sick a lot and he would just get better. So I was like, I don't have to worry, God's got him, he'll heal him, he'll come back, it's fine. So that's why I feel the reason why I felt that way. So life went on, and I found my love of singing, and I joined a youth theater company, and every day I just enjoyed my life. I went to father-daughter balls. Obviously, I'm daddy's girl. I would play with my brothers. Sometimes we would fight, but that's okay. However, things started to become more serious when I was in 6th grade. When I was in 6th grade, we found out that my dad's cancer had come back and it had traveled into his lungs. I knew my dad had cancer before I was born, which is the reason why he had an amputated leg. However, I never really thought about it before, because like I said, it was normal that he would get sick all the time. At first, this was how I treated this news too. I was like, oh, it's fine, Daddy will be sick, but then he'll get better like he always does. That was little 12-year-old Hayley's mindset, and I refused to believe anything else. So this is a video from a father-daughter wall that I'd like to share. So in that video, you can see how happy I was. That little girl was so happy. My smile, I love looking back at that video. And even though my dad was going through chemo at that time, he still came to my father-daughter ball and he wanted to be there for me. And the song that we were dancing to is called Cinderella. And it's about how one day, Daddy's little girl will grow up and find a man and leave. The line at the end says, "'Cause all too soon the clock will strike midnight and she'll be gone." However, when we sang it, we would always say, as you could hear in the video, "And she'll be here." Because I told Daddy that I would never leave him. Little did I know at that moment that he would be the one to leave me. I also hate crying in public, so.
Yours are good, really. We're all doing it. Yeah, all the cool kids are doing it.
As the months turned into years, my dad got sicker and sicker. We soaked up memories going to sports games and taking trips as families. I don't like sports at all. I'd rather be in the spotlight on the stage singing. However, my dad loves sports. And so we went to many sports games together, and I'm so glad that I was able to take selfies at every game that we went to, because my main reason for going was I wanted to see my dad happy. So I always wanted to sit next to him, which was a fight with my brothers of who got to sit next to him, but I always won. I was Daddy's little girl. So I would take selfies, and I'm so glad I have these pictures. But as my dad got sicker, I continued to believe that eventually God would heal him, and he would be just fine. I remember my mom cried when the doctors called and said that the chemo wasn't working and that the cancer had gotten bigger. I don't remember crying though, because like I said, I didn't really understand what was going on, and I was like, God will heal him. Eventually, I made it to 8th grade, and I was starting to see the effects that cancer was having on him. He started looking different, and he started acting different. Sometimes he would yell at my brothers and my mom, and I could tell he was in a lot of pain. This is the first time I began to doubt God. Luckily, I was surrounded with a great group of friends at school who would cry with me at lunch and bring me gifts when I felt sad. I felt like if anything did happen, at least I would have my friends. Just when I was finding a great community, you know what had to ruin it? COVID. COVID shut down the world in March of 2020 during my 8th grade year. I was no longer surrounded by my friends. I felt like I had completely lost my community. I couldn't see my friends at all, and I was stuck at home all day. But it wasn't all bad though, because I was able to spend time with my dad and my family 24/7. Here are a few pictures that we took during COVID. We got Sonic slushies like every day because my grandma would come over and that was like one of the only things that my dad wanted. We also made chocolate chip cookies like every night, which not healthy, but you know what? It was a great memory. And it was like the only thing that my dad could get down. So of course, not just him ate it, we all ate it. Oh yeah, we also went to the beach for that Easter. Which was really fun because, you know, everything was still shut down. So we were just kind of alone in this house together, but we got to go to the beach and it was just amazing memories. And I love that picture because we're just all being silly and it's just so great. This picture is actually wild. I have a crazy story for that. My 14th birthday party, Red Robin literally came to our house. It's like, it's the craziest story. My mom put it all together. I'm so blessed for that day because like I got to ride a motorcycle. We went around and did a whole parade. It was so much fun. And oh, I'm a huge fan of Red Robin, if you didn't know, me and my dad. So that was like a dream come true. And then obviously my mom shared that was our last family photo at the the jeweler place. And I'm so glad that I had that experience too. So that was our last family picture. And then about a week after that, everything changed. May 23rd, 2020 was the worst day of my life. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I honestly don't even remember much. It's a blur, as probably many of you know when you're going through a loss. It's a lot. But I just remember that my first thought when my mom woke me up was, no, it's not time, I'm not ready. When we sat with my dad that morning on his bed and I watched him as he breathed quick, short breaths, my heart stopped with each breath that he took because I knew it could be his last. I pushed through the tears so that I could sing our song, You Were My Sunshine. That song, he would sing it to me every night when I was little, and it just became like our song. And so I wanted to sing it to him. My mom was on the phone with the hospice nurse, and she had told her to give my dad something. At that moment, I still had hope, and I believed that she was going to give him something that was going to save him and bring him back. I later found out that that was only medicine that was used to calm him so that he would peace passively. Passively peace. And so that he wouldn't be in pain. When my dad took his last breath, I remember we were told to say our goodbyes. Say our goodbyes? How am I supposed to say goodbye to the person I love most in the world? I did what I normally would do when saying goodbye to Daddy. I kissed him on the cheek and I said, I love you, Daddy, and I walked out. That was the last time I saw him. As my brothers and I sat on the couch that morning in the living room, we could hear my mom cry in the other room. It was the loudest wail I had ever heard, and it broke my heart even more. I looked at my older brother, and he was also crying. And then I looked at my 12-year-old brother, and he just sat there with a straight face. I asked him why he wasn't crying, and he said he was sad, but he couldn't cry. I later learned that it took him years to fully process what was happening, and he finally cried years later. Me and my brothers each grieved differently. My younger brother, like I said, he couldn't process it. He was 12 years old. He knew what was happening, but couldn't process it, so he bottled everything up until years later. My older brother acted out in anger. He was very angry at God, at my mom, at everything, at the world. It got really bad. The police were involved sometimes, and he was just so angry. And me, I had to grow up fast. I had to learn how to take care of my little brother when my mom couldn't, when she was just too sad sometimes. So I learned how to cook for him and take care of him, and I kind of became like a second mom to him. I mean, I always kind of was, but I feel like I had to grow up and step up a little bit more. I also had to stop fights between my older brother and my mom sometimes when it got scary. So I felt like I didn't really have anybody and nobody understood what I was going through, and that I was just alone, and I had to just grow up so fast and that my childhood was over. Something that helped with my grief, though, was journaling. Like I said, I don't like talking about my emotions with people, so this is a lot right here, like crying in front of all of you. Thanks. So this allowed me to freely write how I was feeling. I wrote down poems, which I've actually looked back on, and I could tell how angry I was, because a lot of it was questions about just things that I was scared to even ask God. And I was angry and I needed to get my emotions out, so I wrote down these poems. This also led me to creating lyrics, and I turned my emotions into songs. And I began learning how to write songs and play them on the piano. And I've always loved singing, so I was able to express myself through music. However, these things didn't stop me from grieving. One night, about a year after my dad passed, I was laying in my bed and I looked over on the wall and saw a picture of my dad on the wall. I began to cry and call out, "Why, God? Why?" I was crying and praying, "Please, please let me understand." As I cried, I suddenly felt a peace wash over me that I had never felt before. Then I heard a voice say, "Trust me." My tears stopped, and I remembered a thing that my mom would always say to me. God doesn't make bad things happen, he lets them, and we only see a piece of the puzzle while God sees the whole picture. At this moment, I realized that I should not be angry with God. He didn't make my dad die, and he has a reason for everything. After this night, I began to see what God had in store for my life. I watched as he helped my mom create Widow Goals and how she was using our story to help others. This inspired me because I realized that I too could use my pain for good. The main thing I felt when I lost my dad was the feeling of being alone. I had no community, no one to turn to, no one to talk to, and I just felt so alone. My dad died in the middle of COVID, so I couldn't even see any of my friends, and I felt the most isolated that I had ever felt. I had no one to talk to who understood how I was feeling, and I was able to text my friends, but all they said was "I'm sorry, I'm praying for you," which I knew they cared, but that's not what I wanted to hear. I wish that I could talk to someone who understood. This is why I'm excited to announce that I'm starting my own ministry with my mom's help and based off of Widow Goals. And it took me a long time to decide on the name. And then I was like, you know what, it should be simple. It should be like Widow Goals. So I'm proud to announce Parent Loss Goals. So it can easily be related to Widow Goals. You know what it is and what it's for. And for now, I've created an Instagram account, which you can scan the QR code, and it will bring you up to the Instagram page. And I wrote a little bio in there that says, "Supporting kids, teens, and young adults through parent loss with faith and community." And I also added that they can message me anytime if they want, because it's a public account. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and after just seeing my mom's ministry take off, and all you people here representing so much of America and the world, it's crazy to me, and it's making me realize that this is something big, and I could do something big like that too. So what I hope to do with this is to post videos of me singing, or pictures of Bible verses, and answering questions that any young adult, child, or teen may have about like how to overcome a challenge that this type of loss can bring. Because even when I was creating this account, I like looked it up, and there's like nothing for parent loss, like community, like a Christian community for parent loss, where you can just chat and you can just like engage with others who have experienced what you're going through. And I hope that one day this could be as big as my mom's ministry, and maybe do a retreat someday. I don't know. I've seen how much work she's put into it. So maybe at some point that would be fun, because I would like to like experience meeting these people in person at some point too, which I feel like would be really fun. Also, if your kids like don't have Instagram or they're too young, you could always follow it, and if they have any questions, you could like message me about it and I could chat with them, and you can monitor all of that, or like you could show them my videos as I post them and stuff like that, because I want this to be open for everyone and like have no limits for who can use it. So none of us want to be in these situations, and none of us should have to walk alone. So my prayer is that through community and faith, no kid, teen, or young adult will ever have to wonder if they're the only ones feeling this way. God is with you and your kids, and I'm here to let them know that there is a community ready to walk with them and support them as well. Thank you.
I instantly cried when I saw the pictures and videos and everything, and okay. So that was pretty amazing. So just know, could you stop it and we'll start it again? So it's two different videos. Thank you. Those will be really long. So going again, yeah.
I can't.
You can't really see everyone.
It's not doing anything. So that popped up, so I recorded it on my phone.
Thank you.
Just because I wasn't sure. I couldn't airdrop that.
Low battery. It still says it's recording right now.